Let me guess, you probably looked at the thumbnail and title for this video and thought to yourself, wait, we just got the new Horizon update and this YouTuber is already wanting more? And believe me, those thoughts would be valid. Even the part where you think that every bad thing that has ever happened to any game that you love is due completely to YouTubers and their OP influence on what studios think and do. By the way, that's sarcasm, in case you didn't know. What's going on, everybody? It's LtBuzzLitebeer, and like many Outriders faithful, I have and am still enjoying the latest New Horizon update. But it has also exposed some glaring omissions, as well as potential shortcomings as we transition from this current game build over to the upcoming DLC, Worldslayer, whenever this may be. So before we dive into these 7 items, in case you aren't yet a sub, please smash that sub button, and don't forget to ring the bell to receive those future upload notifications. Let's get this one going. Okay, before we dive into this video, I want you to know that I'm not going to be listing out each individual technical deficiency this game has. That includes specific logon issues or things of that nature. You know it, they know it, and let's hope it is steadily worked on. Now, what I want to concentrate on are improvements and additions to the base game to get us from now all the way up to Worldslayer, which at this point we have zero information for a potential release date, just that it's 2022. Outriders came out of the gates like a bat out of hell back in April, and has since then seen its player base dwindle down dangerously low, and now with New Horizon has seen a resurgence. Now these changes are needed to keep that forward momentum churning and bridge the gap for the next, 6 to 9 months, or whatever it will be until Worldslayer launches. So with that quick preface out of the way, let's go with number 7, and it is going to be the Expedition map. Now I know there are plenty of newer players that have picked up Outriders recently and are still making their way through the campaign, and if I could give you any advice at all, it would be to just take your time, enjoy the campaign, and really soak it all up. But for any grizzled vets at in-game, the Expedition map is a damn nuisance. The fact that it will only show you 4 random expeditions plus Eye of the Storm at any given moment needs to be changed. Now, we actually got to see the full map with all points visible during the New Horizon broadcast, and you know what? It looked damn glorious. We need to either A, have the entire expedition map visible at all times for us to choose from, or if that's not possible, then B, give us the option to spend a small amount of drop pod resources to re-roll the shown expeditions. Personally, I would prefer option A, but either of these alternatives are better than having to just fast travel from camp to camp in an attempt to re-roll the available expeditions. I've been around a lot of specific gaming communities, and you may not believe this, but the Outriders community is actually quite strong and loyal to this game. However, there's very little done to increase that loyalty or sense of community, which brings me to number 6. Now, if we're going to have to work with this version of the game for the next however many months, we are going to need regular community events. Now, many other titles have these, and I'm sure you know what I'm speaking of. You know, here's a week-long event where the entire player base needs to accumulate 1 gazillion kills on this specific boss or enemy types, and then if completed, every player that logged on and participated earns this reward. I know it sounds quite basic, but these community events really work and would not only keep the player base engaged for the foreseeable future, but help strengthen the bonds between the players, which, by the way, and I'm not harping here, but the game does not help out with no in-game comms and the matchmaker not always working efficiently. If we're going to continue to keep this community together, we're going to need some more variety. And in a looter shooter, that variety comes in the form of, you guessed it, loot. More specifically, legendary gear. My number 5 item is that we really need legendary gear with random attributes and or talents. Now, I'm not a developer, so I preface this with the fact that I have no idea how this works behind the scenes, but we really need to unlock the gear combination possibilities and allow players to engage the grind for better and or more interesting versions of legendary gear. Right now, the only variance on, say, a death shield is going to be the firepower rating. Other than that, everything like the attributes and standard talents are well standardized. Once you have one, believe me, no easy feat, I know, but once you have it, the only reason to keep looking for another death shield is for a slightly higher firepower rating or armor rating if we're talking about gear. There are plenty of legendary items I would be interested to try out, but either the attributes are all wrong for my builds, or the talents themselves are really not helpful. Players playing a looter want loot, lots of it, and they want it to be varied. Here is one way to give them just that. The final 4 items on my list are huge, and they're going to hit hard, but here goes. Number 4 has been universally cried out for across the entire Outriders player base, and it has to be, give us a damn gear lock system. This game throws loot at you in droves, and to be honest, sometimes it all just starts to look kind of the same to me. I've lost track of how many times I have accidentally marked an item for deconstruction, broken it down, and then realized, oh shit, that was my world-class assault rifle, or insert whatever piece you want into this sentence. Having a gear lock mechanic is pretty standard when it comes to this genre of game, and I honestly don't know why it isn't in Outriders. It could be a storage issue or some other internal restrictions. Once again, I'm not a dev, so I don't understand any regulations or limitations that it has behind the scenes, but this is a huge oversight with not including it within the game. Not that this would be an acceptable substitution, but if a lock system is not possible, could we at least have the option to undo a breakdown and restore all the items that were in the last deconstruction? Still, a really drawn out procedure, but it's better than not having anything at all. This next item kind of goes hand in hand with an inventory lock system, and my number 3 item is give us loadouts. Outriders throws a multitude of options at players when it comes to builds, especially now that timers have been removed for expeditions, advancing the use of other concepts outside of just running pure DPS builds. Why I need a full spreadsheet of builds and gear stored externally outside of the game is just pure madness. The ability to lock in your gear and weaponry along with your class tree and skills is honestly a mechanic the game should have launched with. Just as an example, I have 3 Trickster builds alone, all with different gear, class nodes, skills, and weaponry. Having to go into the inventory screen, manually switch over each gear piece, weapon, completely respec my entire class tree and skills is really time consuming. If we're going to keep this game moving forwards towards becoming a more mature looter shooter, then anything that helps save time and hassle is considered a worthy addition. Loadouts is all of the above. Alright, we're down to the top 2, and let's just throw this right out there. I personally enjoy New Horizon. I like the quality of life improvements. I like the vision. I like these new expeditions. But if we're looking at like 7, 8, 9 months from now when World Slayer launches, what we have now in the base Outriders game is not going to be enough. Players that haven't played the game in months are going to grind the new expeditions for a few weeks and then put this game away again for the next period of months and just wait for more content. And you know what? That's fully understandable. So, what can be done? Number 2 on this list is that the open world, known as the world tiers, needs a cap increase. Notice that I didn't say our characters need it, because if you're maxing out at challenge tier 15, you already have all level 50 gear. Now the problem here is that if we ever go back into the open world, even at world tier 15, it all just feels so simple. And here's where you have what is probably the biggest issue with the base game, the open world. It has beautiful locations, the artwork, the story, even all the side quests like the monster hunts, assassination contracts, and historian questline. All of it is absolutely forgotten once you max out in expeditions. At that point, you've lost interest in about 90 to 95% of the game because it's all just so irrelevant. Giving players a reason to re-engage with the open world, like installing World Tier 16 through say 20, would give them a reason to play something other than expeditions. I would personally enjoy testing out my CT15 builds versus the monsters on an even playing field. Wouldn't you? Staying on this theme of new content to keep players engaged with Outriders, and let's just assume for a moment that we're not going to be getting another New Horizon-sized update prior to World Slayer. So that means no new expeditions, but we have a golden opportunity with what we already have. My number 1 item has to be to rework the current expedition pool, all 15 of them, to include a hard mode option. New Horizon expeditions are clearly on a different level than the older group of selections, so naturally, players are going to hit the new missions until they just reach a level of burnout. But what if we could give them, say, Boomtown with 33% more mobs, higher concentrations of elites, or even more spawns being thrown at them? So the older expeditions would match up in terms of how frenetic the gameplay loop would become. Now that I've experienced what is possible with, say, the Marshals Complex, Stargrave feels just rather boring to me. But if I was given an option to toggle up to hard mode and see way more monsters with more elites and a more challenging gameplay loop, you bet your ass I would go for it. Tie in better loot reward percentages for attempting and completing hard mode encounters, and this would be a hit. Now, if the PCF team could also incorporate non-static legendary items for this mode, or dare I open this bag of worms, new legendary gear and weaponry, anyways, we could have 15 newish feeling expeditions with new legendary loot to chase that could be found with random attributes and talents. Could you imagine Eye of the Storm on hard mode with even more of those super fast moving ninja guys with the giant blades? I mean, I would give that a go day one just to see if I could finish it up and what gear I could loot. So there you go, my top 7 items Outriders needs right now in order to keep momentum and get us to the finish line of the World Slayer launch. As always, I look forward to reading your feedback in the comment section below. In case you aren't yet a sub, please smash that sub button for more Outriders content, and don't forget to ring the bell to never miss a future upload notification from my channel. If you could take the time to rate and or share this video, it would be greatly appreciated, and it's really going to help out with getting the video promoted within the voodoo known as the YouTube algorithms. I would also like to personally invite you all to join my community Discord server, especially now that New Horizon has gone live. Just check in the video description, click on that open Discord invite link, accept the server rules, and you are in. Our mod team will be there to get you pointed in the right direction, and we've got channels for builds, tips and tricks, and of course the ever popular LFG, or looking for group areas for both carries and farming. Don't get frustrated with the lack of squad communication or the limited matchmaker capabilities. Just join my Discord, find a group, be up on mics and our free voice channels in a matter of minutes. Trust me when I say that our Outriders community is extraordinarily active and always down to assist anyone in need. Don't forget to find and follow me over on Twitch for weekly Outrider streams, and of course, you can also follow me on Twitter, posting my thoughts on most things gaming related. Links to all of these platforms, again, are in the video description below. Until the next one, this is LtBuzzLitebeer, signing off.